there are a lot of interesting things to say about atheists or atheism, precisely because essentially at the end of the day, one values atheists. They're human beings. They're worthwhile, and therefore, their lives actually matter.
Which is very easy to lose sight of when you're in a position like I am, and you're constantly debating them. You see them almost as cockroaches that need to be stamped out. Quite honestly, no. I mean, I feel like I'm a bad critic because I feel no agape love for these people. I consider them pests.
Excuse me, what?
Hey, do any of you remember that bag of douche by the name of Dean Esme? You know, the guy who liked being a dick to atheists, but didn't want to be treated like one?
I openly encourage people who are religious or just who support religious people to stop being friends with atheists, stop doing business with atheists, kick them out of your homes, kick them out of your places of business, mock them, laugh at them, show them no conversational tolerance, because atheists are awful. Just say, get out, I don't want any dirty, nasty fucking atheists around here.
He's an asshole.
Well, what would you do if I told you that I came across a user who is a lot like Dean, but somehow has way less self-awareness? Allow me to introduce Missing the Mark.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, he really named his channel that, and as you could have guessed, he misses the mark a lot! He misses it so much, in fact, that you'll start wondering if he's doing it on purpose.
Thank goodness! Wow!
Like, here's a perfect example of why his name is accurate. In this video of his, he tries to prove why it's stupid to say,
if you need religion to be a good person, then you're not a good person.
But ends up doing the exact opposite. Like, seriously, just listen.
Now, brace yourselves, everyone!
On today's episode of Stupid Things Atheists Say, we're going to talk about if you need religion to be a good person, you're a bad person, like this. But the basic idea at its core is, roughly speaking, that it is normal for people to just instinctively be good and not be tempted to be bad. And that if you actually need to be told what is good, if your instincts do not just always unerringly lead you to be good, such that you are good without effort, then there is something wrong with you. And that's just so wrong. No, I mean, there is a vague instinct it's got the slightest kernel of truth, and the slightest kernel of truth is that we're a fallen species, and so yes, we should, in fact, always do everything correctly. So it's a really tiny little kernel of truth there. And in this fallen world, it's just idiotic. People are bad. People are really bad. People do very bad things all the time.
Isn't that cute? But it's wrong!
So the reason why it's stupid to say is because we're a fallen species. And it's in our very nature to be bad to one another? And this is why we need religion? Aren't you trying to disprove why this is a stupid thing to say?
On today's episode of Stupid Things Atheists Say, we're going to talk about if you need religion to be a good person, you're a bad person.
Yep, he was. Way to fuck this up, Mark.
Oh my god! I'm done! Oh god! Fuck! No, my god!
Alrighty then.
Oh, thank goodness! Wow!
And even worse for Mark here, no, not that one, this one, is if you go and check out the data, what you'll discover is atheists commit less crimes, they're less violent, and they're against things like war, the death penalty, and torture, just to, name a few. It's the religious who seem to be having the most difficulty with these things, even with the aid of religion.
In an opinion piece on May 27, 2022, political writer Steve Bannon points out the lack of logic in claiming we cannot ask politicians to solve gun violence, but we can ask them to tell us what our spiritual beliefs should be. While Gray and his ilk claim America has problems because of lack of religion, the facts are completely the opposite. America is easily the most religious among the wealthy democracies. Weekly church attendance is higher than Europe. If religion brought safety in a crime-free country, America should be the safest. It is not. Rather, we are the only country where these kinds of mass shootings occur on a frequent basis. As the Washington Post's Paul Waldman put it, if the United States is simultaneously the most religious wealthy country and the most violent, a lack of religion clearly isn't our problem.
So, yeah, you can see why his name is accurate.
You missed!
How could you miss?
Oh, and just in case you thought we were done, no, we're not done, because that was just the first half of his video. We still have a whole other half of this shit to go through.
Are you fucking serious?
And what he does in this last half of his video is he tries to describe atheists, but ends up showing us just how blind he really is.
This kind of gets to a lot of the internet atheists that you will see, because I'm primarily talking about internet atheists. They are fairly well-to-do, like middle class, upper middle class, some form of middle class at least. They're comfortable by historical standards, they are rich. They don't face temptation all that frequently because like most of their basic wants are all just sort of like automatically met with minimal effort. I think the whole thing comes down to the sort of atheists we're talking about are extremely unimaginative people who live very, very comfortable lives in which they have never, and they're also very not self-reflective, because most of these people, the ones I've been able to, when I interact with them, I'm not, generally speaking, willing to believe that I'm talking to saints. I am not willing to believe that these are people who, in fact, just do the right thing all the time. I'm pretty sure in all the cases I've where I've interacted with these people for some real length of time, these are just extremely unreflective people who don't notice all of the harm that they cause and don't notice all that they do wrong, and just, essentially they just give themselves a pass on everything. So that's kind of another thing. It's its own subject for a different day, but that's kind of the other thing about it too. So is that going to be true of all of the people who say this? I don't know. I don't know it. I don't know it even in any of the cases in which I've suspected it, but I sure have suspected it on the basis of just the individuals, where they're rude and unpleasant and they're deeply intellectually inconsistent, and you point things out to them and they just don't care, and they give all the hallmarks of people who are not really very impressive when it comes to virtue, and yet they are very much willing to hold themselves up as examples of people who do nothing wrong.
And he says all this shit while literally standing in front of 3 expensive-looking hunting bows, while also looking like he doesn't have to wonder where his next meal is coming from, if you know what I mean.
What are you gonna do? Got that gun.
And who could also forget how he seems to enjoy being a dick towards others? Because, that's Christian of him to do.
So missing the mark won't debate me because I'm an idiot or autistic.
There's a certain disappointment in my own performance when some idiot doesn't understand what I said. I just really hope this guy's not actually autistic, because I don't want to make fun of a disabled person. So I'm really hoping he is not, in fact, autistic. He's just really strange. They're rude and unpleasant, and
I've stacked the deck against myself. The debate topics that I've chosen are so easy for him to knock down and win that it's just not worth his time. So if I've got this right, I don't know, I'm a pretty big idiot, so you guys and gals are gonna have to watch his video and tell me if there's a different conclusion to be drawn based on what he said. But if I get this right, he doesn't want to debate me because he would win.
What? I mean, this fellow always seems like the living embodiment of Alexander Pope's statement that a little learning is a dangerous thing. Because I pointed this out to some friends who laughed with me. One of them actually teaches logic professionally in college as a philosophy professor, and she didn't find it reasonable at all. In fact, I think the first thing she said was, is this guy an idiot? That's a serious question. These are just extremely unreflective people who don't notice all of the harm that they cause and don't notice all that they do wrong, and just, essentially they just give themselves a pass on everything.
Oh, and who could forget that on his discussion he had with none other than Dean Esme about how atheists are big meanie heads, he threatened to ban people from his channel if they didn't show Dean respect. The very same guy who says shit like this is someone who he thinks deserves Respect.
I openly encourage people who are religious or just who support religious people to stop being friends with atheists, stop doing business with atheists, kick them out of your homes, kick them out of your places of business, mock them, laugh at them, show them no conversational tolerance, because atheists are awful. Just say, get out, I don't want any dirty, nasty fucking atheists around here.
Yeah, better not be disrespectful to him because, you know, this... like, fucking God. So you can see why people think this guy is a complete joke and why his name is accurate, because holy fucking shit, is this guy just a fucking mess.
G is for losing to gravity. U is for what's peeking underneath. And your naked belly's like a bowl of jelly. T for terrifying everyone who's passing by. The gun knows nothing else but to consume.